to welcome Alex. Please type in the chat 111.
I see Mama Jean smiling. I think that's enough for me. I may as well exit. I think my speech is done. Mama Jean, oh my goodness. I know you see, your name has been called right from the beginning, and it's not even time for you to speak yet. Even the introductory video we showed had you in it. Mama Jean, please, all protocols observed as our social justice icon, the one who has paved the way for us. And you are so kind. You also mentioned that other people did the same for you. Allow me to, I only have just about 10 minutes before Mama Jean comes on board, but allow me to welcome everybody to the 5th session of the Canadian Congress. And this is where you put, as Henry Leombia would say, put 555 on the chart. Put lots of 5, as much 5 as you can put in honor of, or in recognition rather, of our 5th session. So the Canadian Congress, we formed it right after George Floyd. I've been doing diversity work forever. I'm a Christian man, and the Bible often says righteousness and justice are the foundations of God's throne. I sent a newsletter out yesterday, and somebody attacked me. It says I worship the devil. It says the devil is the first social justice advocate. Very interesting. I get hate mails. I don't talk about it. I get people who send me very, very, not even ugly or bad. It's just hate, right? I have learned to immune myself to them, right? And the person that sent that, he kept on saying, oh, I thought you're a Christian man. The devil is social justice. Trump is a god. I'm like, what's my business with Trump, frankly? What's my business with Trump? Trump will come and go. That's the truth. He has 4 years. He can, no matter what he does, he has 4 years, and that's it. Somebody else is going to come and take his place. But today we are celebrating. That's what we're doing. We are still fighting. We are still in the struggle. But we are celebrating. We are celebrating the progress that has been made. We do have Black History Month. We can even do this now. Some countries, they can't do this, right? I know people are scaling back on EDI. You can scale back all you want. It's going to scale up. It's going to scale back up. That's the truth. People did it. Hitler tried. He eliminated millions. The Jews are still here. The Blacks are still here. We ain't going nowhere. We're going nowhere. You cannot exterminate us. We are not cockroaches. You know what I'm talking about? So don't be downtrodden. Don't be depressed. Don't even be angry, but be passionate. Be passionate with a purpose. Be passionate with clarity. Be passionate with diligence. It's my privilege, absolutely privilege, to stand before you, or rather sit before you today, in what I call a pivotal gathering. This is our 5th session of the Canadian Congress on diversity, leadership, and workplace equity. We are here not to just discuss ideas. Let me be clear. We are here to challenge the status quo. We are here to stand up against injustice. We are here to reaffirm our commitment to equity, to diversity, and to inclusion. Ain't going nowhere. You can reduce your budget all you want. Another CEO will come and make that budget available. In fact, the people you call minoritized today, soon we are going to be the majoritized. History said it. Go check Statistics Canada. We are rising. The brown people are rising. The Black people are rising. The women are rising. So nobody should, if people say it's bad times, it's not bad times, it's exciting times. We are living in a time of profound leadership crisis. Right here in Canada, the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, was forced to resign. We all followed it. First the Deputy Prime Minister, and then he followed. Around the world, we are seeing the same thing. They told us that there's leadership brouhaha in Africa. It's here in Canada. It's here in the United States. Leadership is failing around the world. Around the world, we see the symptoms of a pandemic. Not of COVID, not of any disease, but of ineffective leadership. In Pakistan, former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife have been sentenced to 14 years and 8 years respectively. South Korea, the country has seen 2 prime ministers in just 2 months. Haiti, Prime Minister was forced out of office by gangsters. Gangsters took over the city and forced him out. What about United Kingdom, where they started all this mess that we are dealing with? The Bank of England was built on the back of slaves. The Buckingham Palace built on the back of slaves. I didn't say that. Google it. It's right there. When they released the slave, those white people were paid millions and millions of pounds for releasing the slaves, and the slaves got $0. So today they are way ahead, not because they are smarter, not because they are taller, not even because they are white, because they were selfish, they were wicked, and they created a system that we call colonialism. So in UK, they've had 5 prime ministers have been recycled. Every Thursday we put garbage out here. So they've been recycling prime ministers since 2016. They say I won't find who's going to lead them in a country that considers itself superpower. So leadership, my friend, has become a revolving door. Stability is now an illusion. And what are the consequences, my friend? Stress level is at an all-time high. People are dying from stress every single day, even as I speak now. Last year, 65 million people died from different diseases, different aspects, but 65 million. We're only 30 or 39 million in Canada. So twice the population passed away last year. Divorce rate is climbing, as I say, and I sometimes make a joke about it. It is sad. There are more people divorcing than marrying. Suicide, especially among young children, reaching all-time high. 10-year-old commits suicide. I'm guilty. You're guilty as well. For a 10-year-old to kill himself, that's crazy. In a world we call advanced, where's the advancement if children are killing themselves? Why? Because true leadership has been misunderstood. Why? Because people still are yet to understand the essence of leadership. People are yet to understand what leadership means. I wrote a book about it. The copy is not here, The Mystic of Leadership. I define leadership as a spirit that can only be ignited by purpose, sustained by passion, and guided by principle. Without principle, no leadership. Without purpose, no leadership. You cannot be voted into leadership. You can't be elected into leadership. You can't even be promoted into leadership. You cannot even be coronated into leadership. King Charles was coronated as the King of England, not into leadership. It is what he does with his position that determines whether he's a leader or not. What he does with his position. One of the greatest misconceptions is people, they mistakenly believe that leadership is merely a position of authority. It is not. It has never been, and it never will. Leadership is not about power. It's not about it's not about power. It's about purpose. It's not about control. It's about conviction. It's not about status, my friend. It's about service. Look at what's happening now in the United States. Donald Trump, like many, took office and used executive power not as a tool for unity, but a weapon of division. Instead of fostering dialogue, he has resorted to executive orders and legislative reversal, undoing over 80 policies of the previous administration, not for the people, but for political points. What happened to conversation? What happened to consensus? We may point hands to Donald Trump. What is going on in your organization? Are you engaging the minoritized? Are you engaging the Black people? Are you engaging the women? Are you engaging those that you claim to be making the policies for? My mom always said, my son, when you point a finger at somebody, remember that 3 or 4 are pointing back at you. And here is what is even alarming. There are now active attempts to dismantle equity, diversity, and inclusion. That is the funniest thing in history, I'm telling you. Like diversity is here to stay. It's woven in the fabric of nature. That even the weather is diverse. We're in winter here. They're in some places are in summer. We are going to see fall. We are going to see different. You can't eradicate it. So don't be scared. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. If I say nothing, hear me out on this. Attacking EDI is not governance. It is tyranny. We often look at extremist groups like the Hezbollah. We talk of Hezbollah and the Boko Haram and the Al-Qaeda. We talk about all these terrorists. But today, tyranny is now found in the is not longer just found in the caves of the Middle East. It is now in the boardrooms of multi-billion-dollar industry. That's tyranny. For people like Facebook and Elon Musk and these people to come and say, racism is fabricated. That's tyranny. For you to say the women, there's no gender inequality, that's tyranny. For you to say Blacks have not been treated badly, that's tyranny, my friend. Tyranny is not just found in the Middle East anymore. It's right here in the halls of the Western Parliament. It's in the policies that quietly strip marginalized communities of their rights. And here's the truth, my friend. Here's the truth. Listen to me on this one. Injustice will not prevail. History has already decided that. And that is a fact. Injustice is only temporal. Justice has come to stay. Put it on the chart. Say yes. Justice has come to stay. The world is changing, whether they like it or not. Within the next 10 years or so, those called minoritized will no longer be minoritized. The tide of progress cannot be stopped. You cannot fight fate. You can't. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said, you may never know the results. You may never know what results come from your action, But if you do nothing, there will be no result. I'll say that slowly. You, yes, you looking at me, you listening to me, whether you're listening to me on social media right now, you are live at a Zoom event, you may never know what result come of your action. But if you do nothing, there will be no result, Mahatma Gandhi said. This is why we are here. This is why we persist. We don't even get sponsors. If you want to sponsor, contact us. We are going to keep talking. We will never be silent. We will never fail falter. We will never hinder. We will never sit down. We are going to stand up and speak up. That's just what it is. It's what we're created to do. We are here. This is why we gather. This is why we speak up. This is why we stand up to declare that India must and will continue. That anti-racism program must and will continue. Say yes. Put yes on the chat. Capital YES. Some will say, I don't have a position of power. If you are here today saying, I'm not a manager, I'm not a director, that means you don't know who you are. You don't know the voice you have. You have a voice, you have a vote. We are not in I don't want to call some countries where you can't vote, but we are not in those countries. You can vote. Elections is going to come up. You vote. But Martin Luther King reminded us, he says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. Therefore, my friends, you do not need to be a prime minister to be a leader. You do not need to have a title to make an impact. Every voice is required. Go to your HRO and tell them if they should not scale back on EDI. Speak up. Don't accept any email that comes from anybody. Nobody's your God. Every single one of us have a role to play. I already defined leadership is the spirit, and that leadership spirit is in you. And I pray today that not just my speech ignite that leadership spirit in you, but you are going to listen to a succession of experts, people that are living icon. Normally we say Bob Marley is an icon, Marcus Garvey is an icon. We have icons in the house. People, they are still living, and they are still fighting, and they are still hoping. You know, allow me to round up with a passage from the very first speech, public speech that Nelson Mandela gave. I'm getting even goosebumps just reading the speech again today. You should Google it and read it. But I took a portion of it. You know, he was talking of South Africa. I'm going to talk of Canada. I'm going to talk of the world. I'm just leveraging his speech. He said, today, the majority, and he said South African, but I say today, the majority of Canadians, today, the majority of Jamaicans, today, the majority of you Americans, today, the majority of Nigeria, of Grenada, of whatever country you are joining from, black or white, green, yellow, brown, it doesn't matter the color. We recognize that racism has no future. He said appetite. I see racism. It has, listen to this. He said it has to be ended by our own decisive mass action. Our own decisive mass action in order to build peace and security. The mass campaign of defiance and other actions of our organization and people can only culminate into the establishment of democracy, which means every action we take, every voice, every speech we make is going to build up into a mass that will bring down the colonial powers. The destruction caused by racism on our equally subcontinent is incalculable. But the destruction caused by racism, by slavery, by genocide, by elimination of the indigenous has created the issues. The fabric of family life of millions of people have been shattered. Millions are homeless and unemployed. Right here in Canada, go to Hamilton, go to downtown Toronto. Our economy lies in ruins, and that is the fundamental truth. And our people are now embroiled in political strife. Our resort to the armed struggle in 1960, according to him, with the formation of the military arm of ANC, was a purely defensive action against the violence of apartheid. The factors, listen to this, the factors which necessitate the armed struggle still exist today. The factors which necessitate us rising up after George Floyd still exist today. The blood of George Floyd is calling for justice, and he will get it because we are going to keep marching on. We have no option, Nelson Mandela said, but to continue. We have no option, my friends, but to continue. We express the hope that a climate conducive to a negotiated settlement will be created soon so that there may no longer be need for the armed struggle. Abraham Lincoln said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that is what we are doing here today. We are creating the future today. You are going to hear from different people on how you are going to alter the trajectory of this nation, of this world. So despite the economic turmoil, my friend, despite the political instability, despite the attacks on diversity, we must hold on to one thing, and that is hope. Write it down. Type it on the chat. Hope. Everybody, hope. Because hope is what changed the world before, and hope is what will change it again. So as we embark on the 5th session of the Canadian Congress, listen to me. Let us listen. Let us learn. But more importantly, let us lead. Thank you for being part of this movement. Thank you for your courage for being here today. I know you took a whole day to be here. Some of you may go in and out, but this is recorded. You'll have access to it. Thank you for your voice. And ladies and gentlemen, and my friends, welcome to the 5th session of the Canadian Congress.